Jamaicans are known for their colorful, expressive language, and this is best depicted through storytelling, an art form which we have mastered so well that it is practically ingrained in our very being. Telling stories is an integral part of the Jamaican experience and what it means to be Jamaican. That is clever, creative, and comedic. Dr. Meeks, what do you think stories mean to us as Jamaican people?
I don't know what it means, but I'm happy you said, what do I think it means? Because we love telling stories, and we tell stories differently to other people. And I almost said every other people, but I don't know every other people. So I'm talking from my experience of when I travel and tell stories, and they say to me, "You really tell stories like that in Jamaica?" And I have to go, yes. Even if we're just talking about what we just experienced in the market, our entire bodies get into the retelling of that experience. And so I think storytelling is a very important part of our DNA. It's a very important part of how we experience life. Do we have a deeper appreciation of the fact that storytelling allows us to carry memories from Africa, memories from the plantation, memories of resistance, memories of family life? I'm not sure that we think about it in that way. But that is the way that I think about stories, and that is certainly how I would want to educate the Jamaican population to recognize that our stories are beyond entertainment. We not just take kiki. Sometimes we take kinti kiba heartburn, and sometimes we are historians in the stories that we tell.
For a lot of people, even in today's society, we wonder about the place that storytelling has. We look at it as something that's an ancient kind of or older kind of tradition. Do you think that storytelling has a place in modern Jamaica, and what place do you think it may have?
You know how long ackee and saltfish they're about? And it has not been made irrelevant. You know the donkey that carried Jesus into Bethlehem and Jerusalem? And the donkey can do what the conqueror cannot do. The fact that something is ancient does not make it irrelevant. Otherwise, we would not be cooking ackee and saltfish. We would not be using electricity. We would not be teaching babies how to walk and how to talk. So storytelling will always be relevant.
All right, love that. So lots of people think of new technologies as kind of like the new thing, right? It's here and it's here to stay. How do you think we can use or leverage the powers of those technologies in the stories that we tell, or storytelling in
It's
Jamaica?
here and it's here to stay. And our educational institutions at the highest levels, and here I am thinking about CARIMAC now, for example, and maybe CPTC as a cultural organization, need to be doing more of animation so that we can put ourselves in cyberspace. It's not just for tourism, it's that, or storytelling, it's that when I click on something, I do not see myself. I do not see my African self. I do not see my Jamaican self. I see information about me and representation of me from a European perspective, and that's not always complimentary, or I don't see myself at all. And so as we teach the skills of animation and mass communication to ourselves and our young people, part of that should be, how do we now use those skills to represent ourselves from our point of view? And so certainly we need to be establishing partnerships with all of those organizations and the ACIJ that also has a responsibility for memory, that we move with the time and record ourselves in a way that we can be proud of.
which leads us into the next question. What is the function of storytelling to preserving and memorializing moments in our lives?
Today, May 24, is the day of alphabet in Bulgaria. Me never hear of such a thing yet, that they are recognizing that their alphabet is unique to who they are and they celebrate it. So we need to recognize that there are so many aspects of ourselves that go unhappening. If I can make up that word, it don't happen. And we need to make it happen. What you ask me again? Because like a storyteller, me love go on. Ask me the question again. That is the first part of the answer.
Do you think that storytelling is a way for us to preserve and memorialize?
Absolutely. In my research, I continue to be fascinated about the various ways in which the lion was used as a metaphor for people who exercised vulgar power over their enslaved Africans in our Anansi stories. And so that is one way that we use our stories. All of the symbols of everything that we carry. We definitely need to do more of that. In the storytelling world, we talk about when something becomes a traditional story. And it becomes a traditional story when it enters the realm of memory and preservation. So we're having this discussion, and when you leave here, you might say, I had a discussion with Amina, and she said A, B, and C, whatever resonates with you. And you tell that to someone, and that someone will not know who I am, but they will say, Miss Brisker told me that she spoke to a lady who said, and that someone has something which resonates, and they're telling somebody, say one day two women upstairs having a conversation. And so it is very important for us to recognize, and that is also a value of the storytelling that needs to be recorded, and that when we talk about once upon a time, we really are distilling the real lived experience of our collective selves.
Excellent. And finally, what is the vision that you have for storytelling in our society? What would you like to see happen with this art form, this tradition? How would you like to see it represented in our future, or the future of Jamaica?
First of all, I want the Ministry of Education to take me seriously. I've been knocking at their door for a long time. When I was inside the house, I knocked at the door. And now that I am not in the house, I keep knocking at the door that storytelling is the methodology for teaching our children. And I can't go into the thousands of even recent examples that I've had where I've told the story, and before I leave, all the children are repeating what they just told. So I'd like to see that happen. I'd like to see it happen because there is something you might want to check out online. It's called Wired for Storytelling. And it is a group of scientists who have done the research about why it is that we absorb and retain information better through storytelling. But as we continue to journey into loving and accepting ourselves, the language of the stories, the fact that the stories represent a reservoir of our folk songs, our proverbs, our riddles, all the things we say this generation doesn't know. They can't know it if they have not been taught it, and that's the value of storytelling. So there are many doors at which I'm knocking, and my dream is that one day they will take me seriously. In the meantime, I have an organization called Entukuma, and Entukuma has the longest running storytelling festival in the Caribbean. There have been only 3. The one in Barbados was discontinued, The one in Cayman began the same time as ours and has also been discontinued. And we've been going since 1998, and I can't believe how it is such a best kept secret when Anansi goes everywhere, including going into schools. So we are not just performing for our children, we're running workshops for teachers. We are looking at all the things that we learn from our stories about food security, about love of self, about the value of memory, about methodologies for bringing communities together, and we intend to do more and more of that.
Thank you.
Then clap now.
Yes. Thank you. That was, it's always